Well, I guess we're live. What's up, everybody? I'm Dustin from Talkin Motorbikes, and I've got basically a legend, superhero, doesn't have a cape on right now. JD Beach, man, what is up?
What's going on? Yeah, it's good to be here.
Is it? Yeah,
No, it's
yeah.
good.
All my 7 fans are going to be stoked to see that you're on. It's great.
I don't know. I'm not sure about the legend, but yeah, no, it's good to be here.
I don't know. Anybody that doesn't race a superbike in like 4 years and then gets on one and goes and wins on the thing, that seems like a legend to me.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of narrow it down to the old saying that a blind squirrel always find or will always find a nut every once in a while. So
Shut the fuck up, dude. Oh man, that's hilarious. So you know what? I mean, you've been doing this racing thing for a long time. You know what? Should I show that picture?
It's up to you. It don't matter to me.
Let's
I mean,
show
it's
it,
on
dude.
Facebook, so it's out
Yeah,
there.
I mean, yeah. This is from Sean Summers. This is a picture of you. I know how much you are into the whole Halloween costumes. So, pimping ain't easy, right?
Yeah, exactly. I
I
was
think,
probably like 15 or
yeah,
16 right there. Yeah.
yeah, dude. Yeah, Sean said it was like 2009 or 10 or something. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. Like, I mean, I've seen the old pictures of you when you were with Attack and you were still a little guy then,
Oh
in
yeah.
2011, I think, right?
2011. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But all the way back to the rookies thing too. When was that? 07,
Yeah.
08?
So I did the Rookies Cup in 07 and 08. Yep.
Right on. Right on. Yeah. So a bunch of people are asking about what you're doing next year. Guys, we'll get to that later. Like, we got to figure out who this dude is, right? Okay. So when did you start racing motorbikes?
I mean, I was 3 years old. So I mean, it's been uh,
A minute.
yeah, a long time. Yeah. a, a long time. But I mean, I went professional, I guess you would say, when I was 15, because
Okay.
that's when I started when I started to race in Europe for the Rookies Cup, and then basically when I was 16, then I went pro here in the States.
Okay. So what was your first ride in the States after rookies?
Yeah, so it started out me and Frankie Lee Gillum. We both just built our own bikes, and we each had a Honda,
Okay.
and we started the year out on that, and I did the first 3 rounds of the Supersport class, but it was the old, so it was like the it was the DMG day, so it was like basically like super stock then.
Okay.
Uh, so I did, I think, two or 3 rounds on that, and it wasn't competitive at all. And Rockwall, Yamaha had a team, and had a spare bike, and I begged and begged, and they finally let me ride their bike at Mid Ohio was the first round, and so I did the last 4 rounds on that bike, and
Okay.
I went from like eighth in points to second in points that year. So
Nice.
yeah, that's kind of
That
how my pro career got started here.
well, that's a progression from a Honda to a Yamaha, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, especially when we were building the bikes ourselves in the garage. I mean,
Right.
we struggled just to even figure out how to get it to run without the kickstand switch on there.
Well, I mean, so you guys were legit privateer action, like trying to safety wire the shit yourself and all of that.
Oh, for sure. And like we
Oh
were
man.
like we had a paint booth set up in the garage to paint bo- mm, body work and stuff like that. And like when we crashed, Frankie Lee's dad would fix it himself, and then repaint it.
Oh my God. That's hilarious. So that's your professional career as a road racer. Were you doing dirt stuff before that, or
Well, no. So because when I was 15, 16, I was in Europe, and then when I came back here and I started racing pro road racing, I did that in dirt track as well.
okay,
But I was doing road racing pretty much full time then, and then
okay,
I would do the dirt track stuff that was close to home. I'd try just to pick the rounds that I knew I could do really well at, because at that time it paid like, I don't know, $1,200 to win, I think, at the dirt track race, and it didn't cost me too much to go do it. So
okay.
I'd try to go win those, so then I could to go road racing.
That sounds like the typical privateer action, right? Like figure out what pays so you could afford to go racing, right? Like
Oh yeah,
this,
yeah, for sure.
yeah, it's crazy to think about that because like you're kind of known as the dirt track guy now, right? Like you're the dirt tracker that sometimes road races, but the reality was when you started, it wasn't that way, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah. You know, I grew up racing dirt track, and then when I decided that I wanted to go pro, uh, or a little bit before that, when I was doing the rookies cup, then I went road racing, and I mean I loved it, and uh, that was kind of where I was trying to push my career to go.
so rookies sent you to Europe. That's what brought you there, or were you doing other stuff in Europe before rookies?
No, that's what brought me there.
Okay.
Actually, at the time, I was working with Norm Viano, which he was the one that ran the Rookies Cup when it was in the States in 2008.
Okay.
Uh, and but prior to that, he worked with like Eric and Ben Bostrom, like to
Right.
help them with their rides and stuff. And
Yeah.
so when he heard about the Rookies Cup starting up, we went over there in '06 to like try out and stuff like that.
Ah, okay. So, did you have aspirations to go further in Europe, or like what happened that made you decide to come back to the States and do that thing, do the super sport thing or whatever?
Yeah, I think it was kind of a mix of a lot of stuff. At the end of 2008, I mean, we all know that's when the housing crashed and the markets
Yeah.
crashed, and there wasn't a lot of support. And as a American, they at that time, like they had Colin, they had Hopkins, they had Nikki. So they weren't really trying to push too much to bring uh, uh, Americans there, and really by the end of '08, I spent a lot of time in Europe alone, and I was young, and I definitely I didn't appreciate it as much as I should have, and I
Okay.
didn't realize at that age I didn't realize what I was getting to do. So I mean, I think if I would have been a chance to do it maybe 5 years ago from now, it would have been it it probably would have ended a lot different. But yeah, for me, I think it was just it was a mixture of a lot of stuff, and uh, but I'm glad that I got to do it, and I think it definitely it makes me appreciate more of the stuff that I've gotten to do.
Well, the reality is, I mean, your day job is riding motorbikes. Like that's the
I know.
coolest thing ever, right? Like
Yeah, yeah. No, I
you
mean,
make a living racing motorbikes. Like
yeah.
that's you have the coolest job in the world, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think for me, the the racing part is like bonus. Like I mean, I love to do that part, and like for me, it's really cool that I mean I get to wake up every day and I don't have to clock in. Like I get to go ride my bicycle, I get to ride my dirt bike, I get to go to the gym, I get to play with my dogs. But like I do try to treat it like it is a real job because it's not going to last forever. And for me, I want to put in. I can sleep better at night knowing that I put in all the work I can to to be the best I can come race weekend.
Right, right. That totally makes sense. I mean, and it shows. I mean, you show up and, I saw how fit you looked at Coda, you know, and I was just like, man, like, how are you just like on the shelf, break in case of, break glass in case of emergency, and then you show up? Like,
Yeah.
like I know, a few years ago, when you came out to sub for the team, you literally like drove straight from somewhere else and slept in the van the night before, right? Like,
Yeah. That was I was actually at home and I got a text about them needing a guy to ride, and they asked somebody else before me, but he couldn't do it, and so he was actually the one that sent me the text about it,
oh,
and so then I got in contact with the team, and so by the time it all got worked out and I got it okayed with the dirt track team, it was probably like it was 1 o'clock or maybe noon, something like that. But then I was in town, so I had to go home, and I hadn't road raced in 2 years, so I had all my stuff in like tubs. So I grabbed every tub I could find and just threw it in my van, packed some clothes, and I think I got on the road probably like around 3 o'clock, uh, and it was a 13-hour drive up there. So I mean, I drove
oh man.
all through the night, and I got up there at like four in the morning, and just slept my van. And like there up there, there was no hotels, no like I didn't have, so it wasn't planned at all. So I just drove straight up there, and
Oh
then
man.
slept my van for like 3 hours because I was pumped up to ride anyway, so I couldn't sleep good. And then
That
and then
happens to
just
you? Like you're a
oh
pro
yeah.
guy, you're all pumped up to ride?
Oh yeah. Well, it's funny. A side story. So, at after the first race, like I wanted to watch the before the next day, and so I watched the race, and like before I watched it, I was tired, and then uh, after I watched it, I was all fired up. So then I slept like crap that night, and then I did the same thing at New Jersey. So like, if I'm road racing again, I'm never watching the race right before I go to bed because I was fired up and I was ready to go.
Man, yeah. Gil Ramos is commenting. He says it's a good thing you had that apartment van experience.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, that's awesome, JD. Like I can't even believe that that's how it goes. And you're like this guy that can win superbike races, and you still get pumped up to go racing, and it's pretty impressive. So let me ask you this: like, you're one of those OWB guys. Like, is there like something in the water in OWB? Like, how the fuck is it that you guys have so many guys that are so talented in that little town in Kentucky?
Yeah, I think I think a lot of it is we it's just a family kind of thing, and I think when you're around people that have a lot are really fast, it makes you better rider, and I think there's just for years there was a group of 5, 6, 7 of us that they're always pushing each other, and I think from here too to when we're kids to travel around to go to local dirt track races or go do track days and stuff. We're in a pretty good spot to be on a bike a lot, and like mean, we can ride here for almost year round, but like when you can't, you can go down to Florida. That's 12 hours away to get like in the so like it doesn't take long to get to a spot where like you can spend a lot of time
Right.
to to ride.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So, is there any of the OG guys that you still ride with all the time? I mean, are you riding with Hayden and Jake Lewis and those guys, or what Nick McFadden? I think, right? Like,
Yeah. So me, Hayden, and Jake still ride together a lot. Roger doesn't really ride now, and then Tommy he doesn't ride, but he's got a track at his parents' house that like we've spent a lot of time there riding
okay,
it in the past, and so like he'll have us come out there and ride and take lap times and stuff. So even though he's not riding, he's still involved with it, and actually, so here there's a short track that during the summertime they do like a every other Wednesday, I think it is. They do like a Wednesday night go kart race and a mad dog race, which is like pit bikes.
no
Like
shit.
yeah. So like Nick will race that, Jake will race it. I'll go out there and watch it. So it's fun.
Right on. So let me ask you this. This is like something I've always wanted to know, and now that I've got you, I'm like, how did you become like the step Gillum? Like, because you were like, what happened here? Like because it seems like you were kind of like you grew up with the Gillums, right? Like,
Yeah,
is that accurate? Like,
yeah. So I spent a lot of time with them when I was a kid. Because so the big dirt track race that they have them once a year. It's usually in July, I think. Yeah, around July. But so it's like a 4 or 5 days, and like you, as a kid, you race a short track, half mile, TT, and mile, and then like depending on what size bike you are, you might do like two short tracks, a half mile, TT, or whatever. But so when we're because the race is always back in like Springfield or DeCoin or something like that, and so we came back one year, and just through racing we knew who each other were, but we didn't know each other. And so, and
mm,
actually, the first year my dad and I came back, it ended up staying at the same hotel that they were at. And so the way it worked, it was like they had group one and group two. So like 125s and down to 50 were group one, then 250s up were group two. So like group one would race one day, group two would race one day. So like you always had a day off, and we were all always in the same group. So like between or like the days that we weren't racing, we're staying at the same place. Our parents are working on bikes, and of course we're kids, so we're running around, playing in the pool, doing whatever. So that's how it all started. And then
okay,
every year every year when I'd come back here, it was like I'd come back and we'd do the race, and I'd stay like a week after, and then the next year it'd be like I'd come and stay with the Gillums like 2 weeks before the race to like ride with them, and then I'd stay after, and then so it just kind of evolved year after year, and at the end of '07, going into 2008, that was when I was 16 and I could drive. And at that time, Hayden and Frankie Lee were going to be racing in the Rookies Cup in the U.S., and I
right.
was racing in Europe. And uh, and we were all young, and I was the only one that could drive. So they're like, "It'd be fun if you just if or like we like as kids we just thought it'd be fun to live together." So and like my dad was, and I think
You're the one with
where I
the
was,
car.
yeah, but and like where like the time I was at with my life and stuff, I think it was it was a good time to move. And they brought me. I mean, we're family now, and I I love it here, and so like it just all kind of worked out. And me, Frankie, and Hayden like just rode a lot together, trained together. We're brothers. We fight just like you would if it, yeah. I mean, if you need something, we can call each other. So I mean, it's just something that kind of it was a natural thing, and just kind of and it just evolved to more and more and more. Now I mean, but I'm grateful that it all kind of went that way.
Dude, I could tell. I mean, you're clearly Uncle JD, right?
Oh yeah,
For Hayden's
yeah. No,
kid. I mean,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. No, it's fun, and for me too. Uh, I get nervous before I race, but like when Hayden's out on track, like in the bagger or the stock 1000, like I'm like sick, like trying to watch. Like I get so nervous for him, and like when I won at New Jersey, like I during the conference, it was kind of delayed because after the race they had to do the podium for like for top three in points. So I was in the media room waiting, and the baggers were lining up, and like that it was going down to the last race for the points. So like I'm in the media room, they're talking to me, and I'm like just watching the race. And then like as soon as I got done, like I ran to my truck. But the day before, when we got done, I ran to the truck. I got my suit off and stuff during the race, and he did good the day before. So on the day that on Sunday, I was like, I'm not. I ran to the truck. I did this, like I got changed and stuff because I didn't leave the truck the day before. So I just sat there and waited until the race until the last lap, and then I ran
Oh
to
shit! So you're like superstitious too, man?
yeah.
You're like, I had my tongue out. I had my tongue out this far.
Yeah. No, I know.
I have to wiggle my ear twice, stick the tongue out. Right? You're that guy?
No,
I had no idea.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. And so during the stock 1000 races, I always cross both fingers, and then I put them right here. So then I just sit there and just watch the whole race, and so I just so like during those ones, that's what I do every time.
Just a heads up, there's a couple of comments in here. I'm just gonna go blow through them. One of them's from one of the crew members on the team, Maurice, and he says it was great to have you back, brother.
Yeah, it was fun. It was really cool because I worked with him. I don't know, probably 4 or 5 years when I was with Graves before. So
okay.
So it's good to be back. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm just gonna say Thus says he wants to know if you get along with Gagne. Like, that's a dumb question.
Yeah.
How could you not get along with Gagne, dude?
No, I know.
Right?
Yeah, for sure. And it was really cool too at the races that I did, like because me and Jake have been friends for years now. But
yeah,
he like the races even at when he gonna wrap up the title, like he was help me with the bike and stuff. And then even before that, I was lucky enough to get to do that test that they did at Coda.
at Coda, yeah.
Yeah, and he got done before I did, and so he he went out to go watch me to see if he could see stuff that I was doing wrong or to fix. So yeah, no, we get along well.
And also Irate Barry from Utah, he's got a couple of things. He says, "Are you ever gonna cut those amazing looking locks?" And then because he hopes not.
No, I don't plan on it. I mean, for me, I think just who I am, and I like to think too that's kind of like the little bit of rebel I've got in me, just because I don't drink, I don't party or anything, but so that's the rebel in me to not look the same.
All right, that's fair. That's super fair. All right, so let me ask you this, man. Like, because you're, we talked about your background a little bit and that kind of stuff, and you just talked about working with Jake a little bit. I know that, I know that I remember Richard was saying that you were coming up to Jake and asking him questions, and he would like be like, "No, you got to ride the bike like this." Like, how different is the new bike versus the bike you rode in 19? Like, obviously, arguably, it's the same-ish bike, but there's like what 5 different generations of swing arm now. This tank's
Yeah.
different. The electronics are way more advanced. Like, your experience with the team in 19 versus the bike that you rode this season, what did you notice the biggest difference was?
I've gotten asked that a lot, and for me, it's kind of hard to give a honest opinion on that, just because it had been so long since I'd been on on that bike, and not only that, like I went from racing a Superbike in 19, then all I did basically was race dirt track. Then I got back on that bike, and so
Yeah.
uh, to me it felt foreign no matter what, just because it was so different. But I do
Well,
know, like,
there's that thingy on the front
yeah.
right handlebar, right? I was giving you
Yeah.
shit about it, right? I was like, "Hey, you remember? You better get those right fingers working again." Right?
Yeah, no, but
Yeah.
I think one thing that Richard has done a great job with is like reshaping the tank and stuff. Because I do know in 19 I struggled quite a bit with that, because the tank ended up being a little bit too long, and so I was and not having the experience back then, I didn't realize I wasn't over the front enough. And as soon as
Mm,
we changed that, it helped a lot. But and so the bike now just kind of it starts with that. And I know this year, I think it was new that they could change the transmission gears.
right.
Um, and so I remember, and this goes back to even on any bike that I've raced on the street, is the gears sometimes, like, no matter if you change gearing and stuff, you're always in between second and third, or third and fourth and stuff like that. So but the ratios that they have now made it a lot easier. And like I and because before the race weekends, they would send me, or I asked to have the track map with the gears for each turn, just so before I got there, I'd kind of just know a little bit. And I remember, like, from the last time I raced one, it was always hard to those spots where, when you're building up to your speed and you're on the limiter, like, you kind of get used to using that to know when to slow down. But then if you go up again, that limiter's not there, so you don't know when you should brake, or like you have a lot more speed going into the turn. And
Mm,
even with the gearing map from last year, the gears weren't always quite the same this year from the
wow.
tracks that I did. But I noticed there was, like at New Jersey, for example, going over turn 2 to turn 3, the right hander to the right hander.
Right.
Uh, Always in the past, you'd have to go second, third, second, but
Oh.
it was just kind of just weird. But now you can just second gear straight into there, and you can just roll a lot a, a, a lot more speed. And like the long right hander, which is I think 9 to 10, and then it
Yeah.
tightens up. You can just run one gear there, and it's just because before you'd get in there in second, shift up to third, and then you're like trying to pick the bike up to brake a little bit for where it tightens up, shift back to
Yeah.
second. So I think the bike, there's little things that just make it easier to ride.
Easier to ride. Now that like that's all relative, right? Because you
Yeah,
really
yeah.
like I mean,
You can make
it
you can go faster now.
oh there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
It but it's not I wouldn't call it easy to ride, right? Like I mean it's pretty physical, right? Like you really got to get going, yeah? Or no?
Yeah. So so at Coda in race one, I mean of course it was hot too there. So
Right.
that affects mm, your body a lot more. But so when I race, I wear a heart rate strap, and at
Oh.
Coda, with it being that hot, I mean, because it was 115 degrees, I think, plus leathers and the bike's hot, but and it's the highest I've ever seen it. But there for the race for 30 minutes I averaged 191 and my max was
Shut.
a 201. So like I mean it's
Wow.
yeah. And like 201 for like I don't remember the last time I even hit that high. Like I like usually 195 or so is my max, and like on a bicycle, like if I get to 186 or so, like that's like barely breathing still because I'm going
Yeah.
hard. But yeah, so it's
So you're
more than
like on the
just
pin. You were on the pin for 30 minutes. Like
oh yeah,
full your body was on the pin.
yeah.
Wow. Because like, it's weird that you say that because I saw you every time you came in and, after the race, I was there and you came in and it looked like you were just like whatever. Like and Gil Ramos and I were walking around, we're like, how the fuck does he do that, dude? Like how fit is JD where he takes his helmet off after all of that and it's like no big deal. Walk in the park. Like
Yeah. Well, I
like
think it helps too because, well, for one, where I live at, I mean, it's not quite that hot as it was there, but I mean, it gets hot and humid here, so I mean, it's
right.
pretty bad. And for me, for one, like I love to suffer. Like I love just to train as hard as I can and be out in the heat. But like not only that, like when I'm not training, like when I'm at home, if the sun is up, I want to be outside. Like I don't care what I'm doing. Like I gotta be outside. Like I don't play games. Like what like I gotta be outside. And so and like my shop that I keep my bikes and stuff in, I don't have air in there. So like
Oh,
I mean
okay.
if it's 90 degrees out, you're working on bikes sweating. So like I just make myself be out in the heat all the time.
Yeah, Maurice is saying that it was nuts seeing you jogging the track that day in the heat.
Yeah, well, I mean, uh, in the past, that's what I always did on Thursdays to go look at the track and kind of remember like where I'd break at and stuff like that. So I always ran the tracks on Thursdays, and if it's hot or cold or raining out, I still get my lap in.
Wow, dude. Um, Ken Hill was saying that you are a legit professional athlete, right? Like that's like he had a couple of things for you, but he was basically like asking you about like basically how important do you think coaching was? Like you were saying that you were getting Jake to help you out, like with how to ride the bike a certain way or whatever. But like, how important is it for a guy at your level to get coaching?
I think it's a big deal. I mean, I think it's really important to not bounce around and try and ask this guy, ask this guy, ask this guy. Like you got to have one guy that you can really trust. And I feel like for me, the day I feel like I know it all is the day I'm not going to get faster. Like you don't know it all. And uh, when you're on the bike, if you have somebody that you can trust that can go watch, they can see stuff that you're feeling. But sometimes you might, as a racer, you're always trying to go as fast as you can, and sometimes you're feeling stuff, but you don't sometimes you'll either forget or like as uh if you're having a issue at the beginning of a lap on certain turns, but then you have a big moment coming out of a turn and spin up, then you forget about the bigger issue at the front end or whatever because you just think, oh god, I spun up, so that's why my lap
Hmm.
time was slower. So to have somebody like Ken to go watch and the few rounds that I did, like the comments that I would tell Richard and the stuff that would change when I'd get a chance to talk to Ken, when Ken would be able to go watch, it was the stuff that he saw was the stuff that I was telling uh, the team that I needed to fix. And I think it's always good to have extra set of eyes out there just to see what you're doing. And like with Ken in the past, like if I was struggling in some switchbacks or like in one turn, he would be able to go watch and see, hey, well, Hayden's doing this or DeBeese is doing that, so try and do that. And like he knows how I ride, so he knows maybe if I'm riding a little tight or maybe trying too hard.
That totally makes sense. And you mentioned going over the data with the team. Um, you worked with Richard and Darren Marshall at the end of this year. So what kind of things are they able to do for you? I mean, I know they have all the squiggly lines and they look at it and they're like, yeah, you need to give it more gas here. Like, I mean, or do you just look at the track map and go, I'm having a hard time getting on the gas here. I need more wheelie control here. Like how are you how are you communicating what you need to them, and then how is it translated into the bike?
It's I mean I mean I've been doing it for a long time, but they're really good at what they do. And they were really supportive uh of me and like helping me get up to speed. And when I would struggle or what, like they were very professional, I guess. Like it was so I don't want to use the word surprising, but just the way they were with not trying to push me or like uh being a dick, I guess, if I wasn't going fast. Like they were super nice. And but so like I would come in, and when we would sit down, we would have a track map, and I would tell them, hey, I feel this, I feel that, I feel this. Uh, and then so then they would go back and look at the data and see what they see, and then they would usually overlay a lap with Jake and me. So then and like but they would only pinpoint maybe two or three spots where I was losing the most time. So instead of worrying about every single turn, they would just find the spots where I was losing the biggest chunk, and then show me, hey, you just need a break later, or maybe you need to get on the gas sooner, or try to roll through here. And
Yeah.
then but then they were also really good going into turn one. You're actually braking later than Jake and getting through there really good. So don't worry. So like they would kind of beat me down, but then build me back up too. So that so I mean it just and
Yeah.
two, like when I wasn't, like especially at Pittsburgh, like that was my first race, my first time being back at that track
Right.
in 4 years, and that track's a hard track, and so trying to get used to it again and stuff, they were really good at giving me the time. And when I was getting frustrated, they were like, hey, it's okay, like you're still learning, you're still getting used to this bike. But then on the flip side, once we got going and like I had a bad session or whatever, they like Richard would be like, hey, you're right, come on, you can go faster than this. Like, what the hell are you doing?
Is
So
is he like, stop being a pussy?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice, nice. So, um, you've had this experience with the Superbike. I watched. I was running timing from home basically when you were doing the test at Texas, and it looked like every time out on the bike you were learning and going faster every time. And walk me through that. Like, are you like, when you first got on the bike for that test at Coda, were you like kind of tiptoeing into it and like creeping into it, creeping up against it kind of thing, or were you just like, let's do this, and it worked out where it worked out?
Yeah. So going into that, my goal was just every time I got on the bike, I wanted to improve my time, improve on the bike, feel better. And so I wanted to not creep up to it, but I wanted to make sure I was improving, and like, even though if I didn't go super fast, at least they would see that, okay, he's not quite there yet, but every time he got on the bike, he was getting better. But also on the flip side, they still hadn't decided if I was going to do most of the races, he was going to do the races. So
Oh,
I wanted to get up to speed and improve every time, but in the back of my head, I'm like, I got to go faster than Josh. And but
well,
when I got
naturally.
on the, yeah, and so when I got but when I got on the bike for the first time, it had been, I guess I rode it in 2021, that one race, but it had really been 4 years since I'd been on one. And I've got a stock R6 that I ride at TrackDaz, and like, I don't have a quick shifter on it. I don't have like, it's bone stock. And so when I was pulling out a pit lane at Coda, when I was go to shift, I kept trying to use the throttle to shift because I wasn't used to the quick shifter, so I was messing that up. And of course, a stock R6 has probably half the horsepower what that bike has. So like, I
Right.
was trying to get used to the speed, and from what my mind remembered of the track, what the track was a little bit different. So the first 3 laps going into turn 3, which starts the S's, the left right, I went
Yeah.
straight through it. The first 3 laps just blew it.
Oh,
I
wow.
because I thought, in my mind, the track was different, and I just kept blowing it. And I'd come back around. I'm like, okay, I'm
Oh,
gonna get this
man.
right. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get this right. Then I blew. So then the fourth lap, I was like, I just rolled off the gas and just like figured out where where I was at on the track. And then I started doing laps. And then, yeah, and like you said, every time I got on the bike, I kept getting faster and faster. And I think when it was all said and done, I think Josh ended up being like a tenth faster than me at the end. But I I felt like I did a decent job or basically my first day on the bike. And not only that, I got 2 days, but Josh had the morning of both days. And actually, I was racing in Sturgis the day before, and then I got done
Wow.
racing, got some sleep, and then I woke up at 3 o'clock that morning to fly to the test. So I was a little tired too.
That seems to be how it always works out for you, right? Like, you just all lately anyway, the last few years, like I said, you're at the beginning, you're sort of like the break glass in case of emergency guy. Like,
Yeah.
right? Like, you're the racer version of that. You're in there, they break the glass, JD comes, throws down, and then gets to work, right? Like, that's how it goes.
Yeah,
Um,
I think for me, I love racing and being on a bike, and I'm always I always try to be as ready as I can be, just so if something like that does happen, I'm the guy that they're gonna call, because I'm not the one just sitting around waiting.
yeah, you're not waiting by the phone, you're making it happen. Um,
Yeah.
You always want to be ready. So, and you mentioned some of it earlier, but like, what's your training regimen like? I mean, is it? I mean, you said you're like, you get up and you get out on your bicycle, you run, you know, ride a motorcycle. Do you motocross too, or
Yeah, so I work with a trainer. His name's Katie, and I've actually worked with him. This is going to be my 11th year starting next season. That I've worked with him, and his background is like he raced motocross, supercross like in the late '90s,
yeah?
and and then he moved on, and like he raced pro mountain bikes and stuff like that. So he has a good background of motorcycles plus on the bike too, and so uh, he usually writes. So e- every week he'll write me stuff to do like on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then he'll leave it kind of open too. Like, so if I need to move a motocross day here, I can move this bicycle ride here, and and gym stuff like that. So so with him, he knows that I like to train, and I I like to ride. So he puts in stuff that I need to do. Plus, I do a little bit more usually. And then but like he'll watch and like, hey, like he'll get like he'll kind of let me run free a little bit. And then once he starts seeing me kind of dip, then he's like, hey, you need to back it down. Let's take a break. Let's do this. Let's do that. And so like we work well together because he knows that I want to basically o- overdo it, but he knows when to kind of just pull back a little bit. And
Have you pumped the brakes, make you rest?
yeah, and now and like for me, I really trust him because like he knows when to pull me back a little bit, and he knows how to do it, and knows that it's hard for me. So just the way he words it and stuff. But yeah, training stuff, we uh we do bicycles, road bike, mountain bike. I run because I like to I enjoy to run when I travel because I can't always bring my bike with me. And
Yeah.
so like when I travel, like if you're downtown, like you can run around and see the streets, see places where like I could go eat or get coffee or whatever. But so I'd like to try to run a little bit still when I'm at home, because if you don't run for 2 or 3 weeks and then you run, it just destroys your legs. So I try to be consistent with that.
Hmm.
And then we go, and then I do a lot of gym work, and then of course, yeah, I ride flat track, uh, motocross. I ride in the woods. I've got a turn track, which basically is like a motocross track without jumps. Jake's got a track at his house. Tommy's got a track at his parents' house. So yeah, I mean we're special. Like right now, it's
Mixing it up
yeah,
between the houses. So it's like, okay,
yeah,
today we're at JD's turn track, and
yeah,
then next week we're gonna be at Jake's. Is that how
yeah,
it's gonna go?
yeah,
Do you
yeah,
guys do
yeah,
you
yeah.
guys when you go at it, is it like the world championships on the line when you guys are going at it?
Yeah, it is for sure. I mean, because like, well, because it's not like if we're riding at my place or at Jake's, we're just riding, and then maybe at the end of the day, one like we'll stop, and like one of us will get a cell phone, and then we'll take lap time. So then like we'll take turns doing lap times. But when we ride at Tommy's house or his parents' house, every single lap is on the stopwatch. So like and if you're not the fastest guy that day, I mean, everybody just talks shit. So like you're always like, even if you're not feeling it, like you're really trying to get that fast lap in.
Are you on that track? Are you guys are any of you guys trying to go after, like Nikki's old records and that kind of stuff? Or like, are you guys comparing notes to those guys or?
No, it's hard because like so like their track is in a field, and so they like plant beans and stuff in it. So then the
Oh,
track, so then like when it comes time to cut the track out through the beans, so like the track's
oh,
never the same.
oh, wow. So they
Yeah,
grow beans on the track.
yeah,
Wow, that's that's a whole nother world, man. So you okay? So you did the super sport thing with the Red Bull team, right? Danny Walker's team for a
yep,
while, and then from there you went to Graves, right?
yes,
Graves, and you rode. So you basically rode the R6 for years, and then
yeah.
you ended up with Attack in for the first time in 2011, but like on the Yamaha you were with Attack in what 19, right?
19, yep,
So you're the little guy and I remember you were the little guy at Laguna on the Kawasaki 1000, and it's like what was that like pretty eye-opening for you experience to kind of get thrown into the deep end like that?
it it was for sure because I raced the R6 in 2009 and 2010. Uh, but at that time, I was basically just doing the e- East Coast round. So like I wasn't doing. So I didn't do the full round. So between uh those two years, like I think probably did 12 races. I think something like that. Um, and then I got the Attack deal in 2011, and I mean I was young, and when I'd see days go by me or Roger or whoever like that fast, I can go that fast. So watch
Mm.
this. And so that, but
Okay.
yeah, so but I crashed, I crashed a lot of bikes that year, and I think it kind of got to the point to where I when I'd go fast, I didn't understand why I was going fast, and when I'd crash, I didn't know why I'd crash. So I think it just kind of piled on, and then by the end of the year, I wouldn't say I was scared, but I was timid just because I didn't know I didn't know what I'd do to cause going fast or crashing. So it's just like by the end of the year, it's just just wanting to finish.
Well, that year you were working with Joey Lombardo a little bit on the team, right?
Yep, yeah.
So how is that like having him kind of work with you on the Estensons thing a little bit, right? He drives the truck now, right?
Yeah, so drives a truck, and he's part of the when I was there, he was one of my crew guys.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it was really cool because I got to work with them in 2011 for the whole season,
Yeah.
and of course I stayed in touch with him through throughout the years, and then being able to work with him again was really cool. And we worked together, I guess the last three seasons, I think, something like that,
Oh, wow.
four seasons. Yeah.
Yeah, Joey's a good dude, and he's got a long history with the. I think Tommy's the team principal of that Estenson Racing, right? Is that right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, dude, Joey was Tommy's crew chief when Tommy won the
Yeah.
championship in Supersport or whatever, right?
Yep.
So yeah, like Joey and I go way back. So I'm just like, bro, you're working. He's like, yeah, man, I moved to the O Dub, and I'm like, what? So
Yeah.
yeah, it's like talking to him. I was
Yeah.
like, dude, I got JD on tonight, so he might be watching. I don't know, but I guess he's off right now. But I guess he's loving life, living out in Owensboro, Kentucky, with you guys. Is he
Yeah.
like
I
a
mean,
hop and a skip and a jump from you guys?
yeah. I mean, the whole town is a hop and a skip and a jump. I mean, it's not.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it's
not.
a stoplight town, right?
Yeah, yeah, but no, I think he enjoys it a lot, and I think it's the cost to live here compared to where he was at is quite a bit
Yeah.
lower too.
Yeah, he used to live in this like tiny little apartment above like a barber shop and a
Yeah,
yeah, and a pub, like a Irish pub. And I can remember
pub.
going
Yeah,
I can remember going to this Irish pub damn near weekly. Gil Ramos was with me several times for that. And we would go there and we were talking shit about shepherd's pie. Like we would eat a tray of shepherd pie. Like we were such fat kids. It was not even funny, but it was kind of funny actually. But yeah, like that little tiny place, and now he's probably got a big house and stuff for probably less. So,
oh yeah.
um, but okay, so what's more valuable to you in your mind with your racing history? Is it the Supersport wins, championships there, or was it winning Superbike a couple times here and there?
It's hard to say. I mean, I think they all mean a lot to me for different reasons. I mean, I've been lucky enough to win quite a bit oh, over the years.
Yeah,
I'd say one. It's hard to say like which one feels the best, but uh, in 19, I mean my titles. I mean, of course, I mean that's always the dream is to win the titles, and then in 2019 when I won, I won my first AMA Pro or like the twins class in dirt track. Uh, I won my first one the weekend before. I won my first superbike race at
yeah,
Virginia. So that I mean that was really cool. Uh, but I gotta say my win at New Jersey, I guess a month ago now, that was probably I think that's one of the best ones because it was so unexpected. Like I wasn't even planning on riding a road race bike this year. Like
you're
it
right.
wasn't it wasn't even a thought. And then to go out and not only do well on one, but go out and beat the best guys in the U.S. I mean, it was just it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you know about it. I asked Richard what he said to you on the podium,
Oh
and he's
yeah.
like, right, and he's like, "Oh, this is just like 19, except without Gerloff crying."
Yeah, I mean, uh, I know like back in 19, uh, because me and Garrett were teammates for years
Yeah,
on Graves, and so and we were friends then, and we're friends now. But I think I mean always the first person you want to beat is your teammate, and
right.
uh, and so we had a rivalry, I guess, but nothing like bad or anything.
Oh,
But
totally.
I think,
Yeah,
and but he got the super bike ride at Yamaha over me, and so he had a full year on the bike before I did. So I think me getting a win before him was what was a little hard, but it's really like I mean it's just I know how much he puts in to
oh, totally.
racing and uh looking back at it, like I'm not glad that he was upset, but it taught me a lesson because uh, my podium pictures from there, like they kind of sucked because he was upset. So now no matter what place I get or if I'm mad, like I always try to smile and like look and be happy because whoever it is that won or it might have been their first win. So I try to make sure I look pumped too for them, and then when I get off, then I'm pissed off.
I mean, that's an interesting thing to say, because I mean, obviously this year there's been some rather multiple classes. There's been like stink face happening on the podium by a few people. Some of them well known, right? So not in
Yeah,
Superbike,
I
but you know what I mean.
yeah, I think too people forget how lucky we are, and like I mean, of course, like don't get me wrong. If I'm going for a title or whatever, if I don't win, yeah, I mean, I'm pissed off. I'm mad. But the there's a time and a place for it, and I mean, I'm just as guilty of it, getting mad or whatever. But when it
Right.
comes down to podiums and stuff, I mean, those pictures are used for collections. They're used for whoever won, for sponsors. So like, you got to pick and choose when you're gonna be mad.
That makes, dude, that's like really grown up right there. Yeah, I mean that, it's always great. Like, you know what? I'm gonna transition that into like, what do you think of the CFE guys? Speaking of doing shit with fans at the podium.
I think it's awesome. I mean, I think though those guys are real fans and they love racing, and it's cool because they don't. It's not like they love one guy more than the other. Like they're like who's ever is up there, and but even during like fan walk and stuff, they're pumped just for everybody, and the way they are is like how all fans are like in Europe. So
Oh, really?
it yeah. I mean, I guess not all of them, but a majority of them. So, and
Yeah.
I think for
I mean, they're not getting naked. Like, I mean, come on. Like, like
yeah.
when we were in Portugal, like these like dudes from I think Germany went into that pool thing, and Lily, my wife, was watching, and like they full on like got naked.
Well, that might
So
just
like
be a
I
Europe
mean,
thing, anyways.
I've heard that the CFE guys, maybe the what do they call it, the lake or whatever at New Jersey, they might be doing the naked thing there, but I don't know. The
But
pool, I think that the
I
cesspool.
it's
Yeah.
probably too cold there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, and then who do you think I mean, I just mentioned CFE, but like, which race on the circuit that you've been to has like, do you think in the US anyway, like which has like the craziest fans, do you think?
Hmm. I,
I mean, the CFE guys are pretty legit. It's like hard, it's a
yeah,
high bar to set, right?
yeah. It's hard. I think it's hard to say 'cause I'm at a race weekend. Like I'm locked in. I get like I'm not. I'm pumped that the fans are there, and I try to make as much time as I can for them because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be there. And I enjoy like getting to talk to them and sign stuff and just whatever, just so fans know that like we're people, we're not just racers. So, but
Right.
on the flip side, like it's hard to say which race has the craziest fans because that's kind of like the last thing I'm thinking about.
All right. Well, I just like, the CFE guys are, for example, they're the guys that will pick up you guys on the podium. I
Yeah,
think, I think
there's
last
nobody
year,
that tops those
Richard
guys.
body slammed one of those guys on TV last year. It was crazy, right? Like,
Yeah,
so yeah, it's okay. So the CFE guys then.
yeah, no, I think so.
Okay. Yeah, just I don't know. I mean, I've seen some stuff, like the people camping out, like the Daytona people. The Daytona people are kind of nuts, I mean, it's pouring rain out there, and they're still out there riding their Harleys around with no helmet on.
Yeah.
I mean, like, right?
Yeah, I mean,
So
I think every track you go to, there's always going to be that group of diehard fans that will be there, that are partying, that are having a great time. But I think it is hard to top the CFE guys.
yeah, Totally. Like, yeah, it's like I said, those guys, with Sherm Dog and with Chris and those guys, they all go all out, and
Oh yeah,
they're nuts. I've hung
it's
out with them
fun
at
though.
Daytona, and they're hilarious. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, there's some more questions coming in. I've got one from a guy that's watching now, but he asked it a couple days ago from my posts. But he says, "What's the most difficult aspect of riding for you, and how do you train or practice to improve that particular aspect?"
Most difficult.
That's Stephen Pettinger, by the way.
Yeah, it really it just depends on the track and where we're at. This year road racing, the hardest thing was to I was good at braking late, but my problem especially at like Pittsburgh, I would hold on to the brake too long, so I slowed down too much. So and that was all just because my eyes weren't up enough, and so something that like I that that I worked on was whenever I'd pull out onto the track, I'd always try to just look down the track as far as I could, because when you're looking straight down or not far out in front of you, it makes you feel like you're going really fast. But the more you can look up and look down the track, it slows it all down.
Hmm. Okay. So do you have like a thing that you're working on to keep your eyes moving like that, or something that you would
Yeah,
recommend somebody trying?
I always try to find stuff on the outside of the track, like way down the straightaway, like maybe a wall that's painted orange, or maybe a tree or something, but just to pick something to look at that's way down there to get your eyes up. And like for example, the last turn at Coda, on the outside, the walls painted like red and yellow, but as soon as you get in there, if you look at that, it just picks your eyes right up, and then
Oh,
it
wow.
just makes turn. I mean, like it makes you, as soon as you get into the turn, you look at that, and then you just pick up the gas.
That's wow. Everybody listening, that's how you go fast. Right there. Right there. Okay, so let's see. Pinky, also a regular commenter viewer on the show, he says, who is the one racer you would like to currently race against who is not in MotoGP?
uh, I guess who I haven't raced against, I'd like to race against Top Rack. I think. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, just because the way he breaks is insane. Like it's crazy how he
Yeah.
can break so hard, and basically have the rear tire just float all the way to the turn. Uh, is it is really cool, and he seems like he likes to battle but be clean too. So I think that would be a lot of fun.
You want to race with him to pick up some of those pointers and learn how to brake like a lunatic like that?
Because in racing, you're always trying to improve a percent. So like if I could race with him and learn how to brake 2% more, I mean that's huge.
Oh man. Yeah, yeah. I mean, wow. I mean, you've seen Jake a little bit doing that, right? Like I think he's practicing it, but he's not really doing that. But he's still,
Yeah,
it seems like he's getting farther in there. According to the data that we saw at Coda, you know, I'll just say it like Richard said something about it. Let me see. Let me pull it up because this is Stamboli's question that he asked. But basically, he's like, "Hey, man, what happened at Race 2 at Coda? And was there an exorcism performed before NJMP?" Like, for those that don't know, Richard threw the data. He threw up the data trace after we did a CODA show, and it showed that JD's throttle trace numbers were like way even past Jake's, like everywhere until they weren't, right? So like,
Yeah.
and then he goes out and wins. So, what'd you do different there? The exorcism, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, for one, at New Jersey, it was kind of wet, and so I think you had to ride slower, or not slower, but easier. But I think for me, I just kept feeling better and better on the bike. And race 2 at New Jersey, I mean, I was trying to. For me, there was nothing to lose.
Mm.
I at that time, and now I don't have a ride for next season. And at that time, I didn't know what my plans were gonna be, and I didn't know if that was the last time I ever was gonna get a ride. A
Like
suit suit
you don't have a ride for next season, period.
No,
What?
yeah, I mean, that's the cruel part of racing. I mean, I finished third in the points last year, and dirt track, and then I got 3 podiums at the end of the year on a Superbike, and I won the last race. And still trying to work it out what I'm gonna be doing. I'm talking to a few people right now, but it's just funny because I mean, I try not to look too much like on Facebook and stuff, but I get a lot of my friends that will screenshot stuff like, oh, look what this guy said, look what this guy said. And there's all these rumors about where I'm going to be riding at, or that I already have deals and stuff like that.
And
But
you're
yeah,
like,
no,
news
it's
to me. Like,
yeah. I guess that news got lost in the mail for me.
oh
But
man.
yeah, I mean, that the part of racing that's very hard, because I was actually talking to somebody else today that they're they're somebody that they know uh, did very well this year, and they don't have a ride for next season. And that's the part of racing that people don't see. I mean, you can go out there and win races and be up front, then at the end of the year you're wait
You're looking for a job.
job. Yeah,
That
exactly.
sucks. But obviously you're staying ready, and obviously if something comes up, you're ready to rock and roll, right?
Well, these are my words to live by. You don't got to
Okay.
get ready if you stay ready.
Yeah, okay. Okay, that's fair, dude. That's fair.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so let's see what else we got comment wise. That's cool, man. Let's see. I already kind of asked this question. Brian Green asks it, but he's like, what was more memorable for you, winning the last race of the year in Superbike after being off for so long? Or actually, this is a little different, or winning the Super Prestigio against like Mark Marquez types?
Yeah, I mean, that race was really cool in Spain. I had a great time there, but uh, I think winning the last race of the year was probably a little bit bigger for me.
So what is explain to everybody what is the Super Prestigio? What is that?
Yeah, so it's an event that they don't have now, but so it was it, uh, invite race, and so they invited flat track racers, road racers, motocross racers, a bunch of people. And
Like MotoGP
it
guys, right? Like,
yeah. And so long story short, you had to basically just race your way into the super final. And so like there was a class, like you won your class. There's 2 classes, and there was a winner for each class. You got a trophy for that and stuff. But then the top, I think top 4 from each class race each other for the super final, and so whoever won that was like the big winner. So that was so then I was lucky enough that I swept the whole thing. I won every race leading up
Lucky.
to,
Lucky.
yeah.
Fuck out
I
of here,
mean,
lucky.
so I won all the races late to qualify, and so I won my class, and then I won the super final. But for me, one of the coolest things was at halftime they had this. Uh, I I guess the translation was messed up from Spanish to when they told me, but it was to see who could have like the coolest slide, and and so there was me, a Japanese guy, which I'm sure people have seen before. It's the guy that does videos of him dragging the bar on asphalt, on dirt and stuff. He for a few years he had videos everywhere, and if people had a event, like he was there to show off and drag the bar and stuff. But so it was me, him, and a guy from Spain, uh, and so they I went last. So the Japanese guy went, the Spanish guy went, and then I went. And when I went to go, I saw them all sliding and stuff. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll just go out there and kind of push the front, like just slide it around and what. But they had the the outside of the track, and so when I went to go out there, I threw the thing sideways, and then I turned the front under, but then I just hit the wet spot. So then I just pushed the front until I fell over. So then I was like, oh well, this is I just lost because I just crashed. So there's no way I'm gonna win. So when I picked the bike up, you get one, like a lap and a half to do the slides and stuff. So basically like 3 turns. So I picked the bike up, and something that I've done on a mini bike was I'll stand on the left foot peg with my right foot, and then I have my left foot down with my hot shoe, and then I stand off the side of the bike, and then I just grab a handful of gas and let the bike slide. And so I was like, I'm just gonna mess around now because I just lost. So I did that both turns, and then I got back on the bike and I did a big old slide and pushed the front and did a donut and then rode off and did a wheelie. Cause like after I crashed, I was like, I'm just gonna mess
Naturally,
around now.
that's what you
Yeah,
do, right?
yeah. So then I pulled back into the middle of the track, and they're announcing stuff in Spanish, so I don't know what's going on. And they're announcing, and they go to the Japanese guy, and then like the crowd claps. I'm like, okay, I guess it's off of the clap. So then they do the Japanese guy, and then the Spanish guy, and then they go to me, and the crowd just lost it. So then I won because I originally thought it was just a goon riding thing. So I was like, okay, I'll just have fun with it.
Oh man, that's hilarious. And of course, you go do the shit that you did like on the regular at Walker's
Yeah.
thing, right? Like
Yeah.
on the little TTRs or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Man, that's wow. All right, so I know you mentioned it today on your Instagram post about Zimke, but Load Toad 714 asks it twice, so it must be important. But like, how influential was Jake Zimke for you? And then, who's your favorite tool guy?
My favorite what?
Your favorite tool guy?
Tool guy. Oh, I'd have to say the Robbie Bobby with R is it R not now I'm drawing a blank. Now I'm on the spot. I'm drawing a
Ricky
blank. Yeah,
Bobby,
yeah,
RGB.
Ricky Bobby. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's yeah.
You put me on the spot and I messed that all up. He's he's actually been great to me. He's helped me a lot, and legitimately the tools are great. The boxo tools are great, and I mean
Yeah.
I use them a lot.
Do you have like the
But
Moto box or whatever?
I
Take it
do.
with you in the van?
Yeah. Yeah, so I'd take that, and even if I'm not riding, but I'm traveling, I always have that with me in case something happens. Actually, so I went trail riding with Danny Walker back in August, and we had to work on bikes, and his toolbox was a mess. So as soon as we left there, I called. Uh, I called him and got a box for him sent there because I was like this is a joke. So
He's got like a bag. There's no 10 millimeter socket, right?
yeah, no,
There's
yeah,
like there's like
yeah,
weeds in there. He's got grass growing through it. That's
yeah,
funny, man.
yeah.
That's really funny. Okay, so let's see what else we got for comments here.
Oh well,
Let's.
he has something about Jake too.
That's right. Like you
Yeah,
talked about it on your Instagram today, like how influential Jake Zimke's been to your deal. So you want to talk about that a little bit? Because I know he's like everybody's agent, but he's also like a mentor kind of guy too.
yeah. So
So
I've known Jake for a long time, and I guess professionally we've worked together. I guess like maybe the last 8 years or so, and he's helped me a lot when it came to getting deals done and finding rides and stuff like that. And he gets a lot of phone calls from me usually around this time time of year asking if he's heard something, if he's got me a job yet, if I'm going to be racing a bike yet. Like so he's helped me a lot, and when it came down to the uh, uh, attack thing, I was I wasn't I wasn't planning on going road racing, uh, but it was kind of in the back of my mind maybe going maybe road racing again, but just not as soon. But so for him, he didn't know if it was a great idea because getting on the best bike, and I felt the same way. If I was gonna road race next year, if I got on the best bike, and since it's been so long, and basically just when shit, it wouldn't help me too much to get right the next
right,
year. So we did,
right.
we talked about that back and forth about that a lot, and it was not that he didn't think that I could do it or I didn't think that I could do it, but there's a lot that goes into it, and I'm stepping into the middle of the year when these guys have all tested, they've been on the bikes and stuff, but when it came down to it, we both decided it was the best idea to just take the chance, and I guess it worked out.
You guess. I mean, saw you on the. What was it? Your progression was so great. It was like what, 4, 3, 2, 1, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's that's like dream come true shit. Like people dream about that, and you just go out and do it. Um, you weren't exactly sitting on the couch, but still, like it's not the same, right?
yeah.
So, so you don't have a ride next year, man. That's a that's unfortunate, and that's
Yeah,
like you said, it's like the tough part of the sport, huh?
yeah. I mean, I mean, there's definitely people that I'm in talks with. It's just, it, it is the hard part of the sport. You go out there but that's just part of racing too. I mean, stuff's
Yeah,
changing all the time. Budgets change,
yeah.
teams change. So it's part of it. And as a racer, you kind of expect it, but it's also very nerve wracking too when you're just kind of when you're going through it as well.
So do you I've got a couple more questions for you just about and then we'll wrap. But like what do you w- in the dirt track thing, do you prefer the mile or the TT or what's your discipline of choice? Like what's your jam?
Yeah, well, I mean, of course, the TTs for me have always been good. I mean, I've won, I think, 8 of the last 10 of them or something like that. So so for me, I mean, those are the ones that I do the best at. But I do really enjoy the half miles that d- have decent grip. That is more than like because there's some tracks that we go to where it's just follow the leader, the groove's real small, but the half miles that you can kind of get out there and race around a little bit, those are a lot of fun when you can run high, low, go into the turn low and slide up and pass a guy because you take his line away, or you can run up high and carry, carry your speed. Those tracks are a lot of fun, but they're very far and few between.
Okay, okay. And then, as far as the road race circuits on, yeah, at least for Moto America, which track it's like you look forward to that one because you're gonna kick ass there every time. Like, is there one of those? It's like your favorite spot?
I mean, I would favorite track's probably Laguna. Not because I know when I show up there I'm gonna win. It's more just because that was a track that has a lot of history, and it was a track when I first started racing there. I was horrible. I dreaded going there, and then it was like something clicked there, and I figured it out, and it have done well at. So I mean that helps, but I think it just for me overcoming the it being a track that was tough to being a track that I felt good at was really cool. But also on a bike, I mean you can't really complain what track you're at.
Yeah. That's that sounds like some what Bobby Fong would say too. Like, it's weird. Bobby, as far as like basically having fun at every track that he's at, but he was opposite of that. Like he was like down for Brainerd and he didn't really care for Laguna too much. It's just
Yeah.
it, everybody's different, right? I don't know who asked it earlier, but somebody a- somebody asked if there was a track that you thought should still be on the circuit that's not anymore. Like, is there one that like I don't know, VIR or something?
Yeah, I think the two that stick out the most to me would be VIR because that to me was a fun track, and then also Utah when like
Yeah,
ride just the because the last year we raced there we only raced the E course I think, but like when we would
yeah,
race the full outer course that track
yeah. The
was a lot of
perimeter.
fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and that track was a lot of fun. And I felt like it flowed good, but I know for the series it was hard to get bands out there because I mean that track's out in the middle of nowhere.
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, getting fans into the Utah track was like it never worked out, right? Like there was never a lot of fans there. And
Yeah,
I mean, I remember when World Superbike was there, and even when World Superbike was there, it wasn't really like super fan filled kind of weekend. Um, you see a lot more fans at other places, at like Brainerd, even, right? So,
yeah.
have you noticed that this year the fans, the fan attendance has gone up? It seems like.
From the rounds that I was at, uh, it it definitely seems like that.
Yeah,
It is hard to me because honestly like from whenever I stepped away from road racing in 19 or at the end of 19 I didn't enjoy going to watch because it was hard because
yeah,
it was a place where I wanted to be back at at some point. So uh, especially until Hayden really because he was kind of gone for 2 years too, and so
yeah,
at at the 2 years that he was gone, I honestly didn't even watch one race.
Oh wow,
I didn't. Yeah, I just out of
that's
sight.
hardcore.
Just yeah, and it was
Yeesh.
just hard.
Yeah.
And then but once he got back, then I only watched the races that he was in, and then this past year I watched the majority of them. Superbike, Supersport, Twins. Like I mean, I tried to watch a, a, a lot of them, but the ones that I was at live, like at Barber, I was really surprised how many fans were there. And then the races that I raced at, it seemed like there was quite a bit of fans there too. It was really cool to see.
Yeah, it has been, and Motor America has been doing a good job with that stuff, and obviously they've stepped up their game on the back end as well with regards to communicating with the teams and that kind of stuff. So that's cool. Um, but yeah, like before we wrap this thing, I just got to go there because we talked about it at Coda briefly. What are you doing for Halloween, man? What's the
Yeah.
I told you, man.
uh,
I personally thought that you should dress up like Kirk Hammett from Metallica, but you said you had the Lieutenant Dan thing. So what are you doing this year?
I don't know yet. I gotta figure that out because in the past, I mean, Halloween for me, it was not. I mean, once you got to a certain age, you didn't go
Right.
mm, trick or treating and stuff, and
Yeah.
then as you get older, that day just turns into a party, and I don't party, so to me it didn't really mean much. But now that Hayden and Frankie Lee has kids, last year was the first one that like we went and did stuff, and unfortunately my ankle was broken, so I couldn't really do much. But it worked out really well to be Lieutenant Dan because I mean I think I nailed it. It was pretty good. Uh, so this year, yeah, I gotta. I'm kind
M-
of running out of days, so I'm gonna have to.
Moto Prospector says that you should dress up like Ronnie Mack.
That's I think that one's been done too many times. I think
Right.
maybe I'll dress up as a pirate or something.
Wow. Okay. I'm telling you, man, Kirk Hammett from Metallica, just bust out the guitar, I mean, right on. Well, you know what, JD? Dude, I appreciate your time. Thanks for joining me for this. And wow, man, I hope you get some kind of badass ride, I wish there was,
Yeah,
I was like, everybody's like, oh, is Richard gonna put together a third bike for JD? And I'm like, who knows, right? Can't really say. So
yeah. I mean, I know Richard hates getting asked that question because it's not his call.
yeah,
I don't see I don't see that team putting together a third bike because I don't think realize how I mean, even though it's just one more bike, like how much more work that one more
well, it's not
adds.
just one more bike. It's like a whole nother crew, right?
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
and it's everything that's involved in the other two bikes has to go into the other bike. So it's really like it's really it's like three more bikes and
Yeah.
people and everything, right? So
Yeah. No, for sure.
um
But luckily, I got Jake on my side, and I know he's working hard at finding me something, and we got a few things in the works, and I think it should work out, and if if they do, I think it'll be really good, and I'll be back on a bike, so it'll be good.
well, you know what, man? I wish you the best of luck with that, JD, and
Thank you very much.
maybe I'll catch up with you after you figure out whatever you figure out.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. I I'd love to be back on.
Right on, dude. Well, let's wrap this thing, yeah?
Yeah,
All right.
cool. Thank you.
Good stuff, man.